Everybody, it's me, Nancy, with Nancy's Hooked on Crochet. How's everybody doing? It's Thursday, May the 6th. Boy, time is going really fast, isn't it? So today is not going to be about crochet or yarn. I was tagged by Ladybird Loves, Lisa, to do this 10 non-yarny things. Hashtag. Okay, I kind of put some thought into it. You may have heard some of these things before about me. And I don't know. I'm not that interesting, but whatever. So, let's see. Well, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And you could probably tell by the way I speak. I was born and raised there. I lived in New York, basically, my whole childhood, most of my marriage, and then my husband and I moved to North Carolina for a little while, for about 5 years, and I used to go back and forth to New York all the time. And then eventually we moved back to New York and we ended up in Florida. But yeah, I was born and raised in New York. I went to public schools. My siblings my two older siblings, I have 3 older siblings, went to Catholic school for a little while, but it was so overcrowded that, yeah, it wasn't working out for my sister or something. Plus, the public school was across the street from us. I'm getting a tickle, sorry. Anyway, so while I was in public school, I don't know what grade it was, we're right after Easter now. What happened was, around Easter time one year, I don't know if it was the 3rd grade or the 4th grade, because it's so long ago, we had a class that said we could buy little chicks. And my mother let me bring home a little chick, so we had chickens. So I had one chick, and then a friend from my class brought home a chick. As soon as her chick started to get a little big, somehow her mom called my mom, and she convinced her to take her chicken. That was really nice of my mother. And in the beginning, the little chickens were in the kitchen, in a box on the kitchen counter. Listen. They didn't know anything about chickens. I like to watch Nana Grace, I think it is, Nana Grace. She has chickens. She likes to crochet too. Anyway, so we had these chickens, and eventually the neighbor told my sister, I asked my sister, and she sent me pictures, so I'm going to insert a picture of, I think it's just one of the chickens, but we ended up with 2 chickens, and I remember playing with them in the backyard. I don't remember anybody laying an egg. She thinks that one was a rooster because of cock-a-doodle-dood, but I don't remember that. My sister's 6 years older than me, so she probably remembers better than I do. And basically, one of the chickens died, and then one day I came home, and the other chicken, they said they sent it to a farm, and I don't know what happened to that chicken. So that's what happened. But we did have cats growing up, but I never had a dog. But that's number 1. That's number 2. So the first was I'm from Brooklyn. The second is we had chickens at one time. Okay, well, I'm going to talk about high school. I was a very shy kid. And during high school, though, I used to get a kick out of watching. My dad watched a lot of football, and I enjoyed watching the twirlers, like the football games and stuff, and I wanted to be a twirler. I even had a really crappy baton, I think. It was no good, and I was very shy. I never really joined anything, but then they had tryouts, and basically you would meet up every week, and they would teach you the cheers, and then you had to try out for the twirlers. Not that I was any good, because I could twirl, but they taught me, and I did okay. And I got accepted, and we went to football games, and we went to the basketball games. The football games were cold, and I really only did it the 1 year, and then I got a job in senior year, and I just didn't really show up. I did it just for the junior year. But we had to buy 2 uniforms, one for the basketball games and one for the football games, and I got a jacket. And I think I got a used jacket, and they were able to redo the name, so because we couldn't really afford to buy everything brand new, because we were a little bit poor. They did own a house, but they like kind of lived paycheck to paycheck, basically. Okay, well that was number 3. As you may know, and I talk about it a lot, I'm a grandma, and basically, you know, I'm going to be a grandma again soon, and I don't want to bring up crochet, so but I'm enjoying it, and I do have 3 adult children and 2 daughter-in-laws. I'll have another grandson soon, so I guess that's number 4. But I should have held off on that one. Okay, well, I met my husband when I was 19 or 18. I think I was 19. And we did date for like 4 years. And then when we decided to get married, we had an interfaith wedding. I was Catholic and he was Jewish, but neither one of us were really practicing our religion. And basically, you know, we try to make everybody happy. Some people didn't want to come to the wedding, you know, how drama is in families. I mean, we had a really nice wedding, and we just celebrated 39 years. He's still not a practicing Jewish person, and I go to Christian church, and he used to come with me. That's all. So, anyway, when we were, at one point, later on, we did have dogs. My husband had he had a business in New York, in Brooklyn, and he got robbed once at gunpoint. So that's when we got the first dog, and he wasn't really like vicious or anything. He just looked good, you know. He was like a Doberman Shepherd mix, and he was kind of big. He was really a timid dog, and he used to take him to the warehouse, as we call it. The days he would work at his warehouse, and other days he would go out selling stuff. He was in like sales. Anyway, so we had that one dog, and eventually we had 4 dogs at once, which I never want to have again. So we just have 1 dog now, because those dogs aren't here anymore. But anyway, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like number 5. Oh yeah, I used to. So all through high school, that was number 5. This is number 6. I think I'm counting. I'm not sure if I'm counting this right. I made a list. So when I was in high school, I used to, and even I think a little bit in junior high maybe, I used to smoke cigarettes. And I was a pretty heavy smoker. I wasn't a big eater, and I was like really underweight in high school. Kids used to make fun of me. Anyway, so I used to smoke and smoke and smoke. And then before we got married, I quit smoking. And basically, it was really, I remember that my mom and my grandma was from Portugal. And my mom was born in America. And one time they had a relative come in, a young lady came from somewhere, it was either Portugal or Madeira Island. Grandma came from Madeira Island. Can't remember if she came from one or the other, but they had relatives in both. And she used to write letters, and so somebody visited a nice relative, and she was a smoker. I guess she was smoking cigarettes. She wasn't that. And then I heard she had died. So I was always afraid after I had started smoking. And also a teacher showed me pictures of the lungs, you know, what happens to your lungs, and I just always knew I wanted to quit, and I quit a few times and went back a couple of times and had a really hard time quitting, and I know a lot of people that still can't seem to quit after 60 years. But I did quit before our wedding, and I went back after my first son was born, and then I had trouble quitting again, and I eventually did quit, and I haven't smoked a cigarette since I was 26, and I'm 61. And I'm really happy about that because I'll tell you why in one of the next ones. Okay. Oh yeah, so let's see. I didn't number these. So that was 1, 2, 3. That was like number 6, I think. Okay. Well, I didn't get my driver's license. This is number 7, I guess. I didn't get my driver's license right away, like some kids during high school. I mean, my parents didn't really have, I guess, money for driver's ed. I don't know, it was probably cheap, but I was working in the city, and eventually, I think when I was like around 19, it might have been before. I think I knew my husband already. But I had a job, and then I got a job after high school in the city. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I paid for my own driving lessons because, all my friends were driving already, and, I didn't want to wait till I was 30 to drive. So I took driving lessons, and thankfully I passed on the first time. And then I remember I had a lady that came to my house, and she had she didn't have a steering wheel on the passenger side, but she had a brake, so if you messed up. But thank God I got the parking, because there you got to learn how to parallel park. But for years I was afraid to get on the highway, and I would drive only on the streets, which in New York City, in Brooklyn, it's, not that easy, but you don't drive really fast there. Like here, I'm in Florida, and the main streets are going 45, 50 miles an hour, But over there, you don't really go really, really fast. The speed limits are very low on most of the main streets. Maybe 30, Anyway, so it took me a long time, but then gradually I got over my fear of driving on the highway. And eventually, I used to drive back and forth by myself from New York to North Carolina. Anyway, it was a big deal to me, It's I have a friend, she would drive the whole way from New York to Florida like it was nothing. But, I used to do it. I used to stay at a motel because it was too much. It was like an 11-hour trip if you went straight through without using the bathroom. But I would get food and listen to the radio and stay in a nice motel. And I used to travel with the 2 dogs. I had a Pomeranian and a Yorkie, and he would take the other 2, if we weren't together, or we would be in separate cars, going at the same time. But I used to go back, and sometimes he wouldn't go with me. So I used to take the little dog so he wouldn't have to watch 4 dogs. So that's why I never want to have that many dogs again, because they really tie you down. But yeah, I got over my fear of driving on the highway. And I haven't driven to New York in a long. Ever since we drove to Florida, I haven't driven back to New York, because now it's like a 24-hour drive or a 20-hour drive. Okay, well, also I had fear of, when I worked in Manhattan in a bank when I was young, before I had my son at 23, they used to do blood drives, So I never liked getting the blood drawn or anything, when you needed a blood test. So I always wanted to get over my fear of giving blood. And, I know some people don't believe in that, but whatever. That's not my belief, so. And then I found out, I knew when I had my children that I had RH negative blood. So my husband had A positive blood, and I was A negative. And so basically, you had to have a special shot, when you had the second kid, because we, kind of had opposite blood types. So everything was cool with that. But eventually, I don't remember when it was that I got over my fear. It was definitely after I got married that I started giving blood. But I really had crappy veins. So I think I did it in New York, and I did it in North Carolina a few times. And then I just decided, one time they had to do both my arms, and I was all taped up. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And then my son, my youngest son that lives in New York still, he sometimes gives blood. They give him free movie tickets. They would just give you cookies and juice, But, they basically, I just stopped giving blood. And sure enough, when I also I'm going to add this in, that I had open heart surgery, and you might have seen that in one of my videos about almost 3 years ago. And I needed blood after my surgery because, I don't know, I just needed blood. Like, it was, the numbers were low or something, and then it was an ordeal. Like, I got really, you know, when you're in the hospital and they got to keep sticking you with the IVs, you know, it's basically, that's why I stopped giving blood, because the veins aren't, they like hiding or something. You know, if they're really good, they can get them, but then when you're in the hospital, they start messing up, you know. They had to use a sonogram machine on me to, like, get the vein and stuff like that. Okay, let's see. Well, that was number 9. And I can't think, I think I forgot number 10. Anyway, let's see if I can think of something. Number 10. Oh, here. Sometimes somebody will say, like, did you ever meet a famous person? Well, my brother, one of my brothers, I have 2 brothers, the one that's married, he was a New York City fireman. Thank God on 9/11 he was off that day, so we didn't lose him. But his wife, his cousin, was the lady from Sopranos, the psychiatrist, Lorraine Bracco. So that's all. I met her at her bridal shower. So, did you ever meet a famous person? So, I mean, I know she's been in a few movies, and she was on that long-running series, and she was a model. When I met her, she was a model, and she was nice, you know. I don't think they've seen a lot of her after she became famous, that's all. I guess she was busy, but she was a first cousin. And that's 10 non-yarny things about me. Well, I can't believe it took me 17 minutes to talk about that. You know, I am going to make a couple more videos, and I may just be wearing the same top because I'm not changing. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my little story about the 10 non-yarny things about me. So, tag you're it. I'm supposed to tag somebody, but I'm not even sure I could think of anybody to tag. Well, I'll have to look at my computer. Yeah, I'm going to pause this. Well, honestly, I don't know who's done it, and I know a lot of people have done this tag before, so if you're watching this video, and if you haven't done the 10 non-yarny things about me, you're it. Tag you're it. Okay, well, that's about it. Have a good night. It's late here. Thanks for watching. Yes, please like and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you want to hang out with me on Facebook, I have a Facebook group. And I would love to have some of my subscribers join, and they could show what they like to make. So if, let's say you don't want to make videos, but you don't mind sharing pictures. Okay, well, that's all we're doing over there. So thank you for coming. Bye.